Hi guys, Adam here. I'm with Alistair. We're outside Old Trafford. We've drawn 0-0 with Chelsea. What did you make of that?
The last time I was on is exactly a year ago today at Tottenham, and I think we've gone backwards. I think, to make a comment about today, I think it's the best advertisement you could have for not hiring Mourinho, because that's still a Mourinho team. Hiddink's only been in the job for less than 2 weeks, and that's still a Mourinho team. And yes, you may take some of those players on footballing ability, they're better than what we have, but just as players, they're just a bit slimy. They don't stand up to, the Manchester United tradition, in my opinion. And then the players that we've got, for me today, Rooney's coming to the end. Rooney's coming to the end. He really is. He plays with his back to goal, and he's really easy to play against. Mata does nothing without the ball, and then when he gets it, he loses it. And our best player is Bastian Schweinsteiger, who is a Bayern Munich cast-off. Now let's think about where we are in the pecking order of European football. They can afford to sell him to us for 14 million and still be 8 points clear in the Bundesliga at the winter break. We've paid £37 for that today, a 0-0 between the champions of England and a team that finished in the top four last year, whereas at Bayern Munich you pay £6 and 2 pence on average to watch Bayern Munich. Alaba, Neuer, Lahm, you can list them, Thomas Muller, and none of those players who we're interested in, like Muller, if you listen to the paper, what's written in the papers, we offered 120 million. No way he's going to come to us after watching that today. No way. I think it's time for a change, and I agree with what Sam said on the channel last week about Giggs, and there's always going to be a reason why you don't appoint Ryan Giggs, in terms of he's not got experience, he's not won anything if he goes somewhere else and doesn't win anything. And Mourinho, I would like Mourinho for one reason, because he's a winner. Yeah. He's going to come in and he's going to just completely rip everything apart and win things, because he's won things everywhere he's been. But the problem is, it's all being left to Louis van Gaal, the football side of the club. In my opinion, it's all being left to Louis van Gaal, and nobody above him is telling him, well, maybe Memphis Depay isn't worth 25 million at only 21 and having one good season in the Eredivisie, even though it's technically better than the Premier League, in my opinion. Maybe he's not ready. 19 years of old Anthony Martial, and he's now 20, he turned 20. He's fantastic because he's fearless. But other than that, most of our recruitment under Van Gaal has been second rate. And there's nobody above him who knows a thing about football, who says to him, maybe those transfers don't work. Because if you look at Borussia Dortmund, Michael Zorc, the director of football, he would go and say, Thomas Tuchel would go to him now and say, right, I want him and him in January. And Zorc would go, right, okay, we can afford that. And they'll go out and get him. But I think it goes so far as to say, in terms of players and recruitment, that we're no longer a big club. If you look at Ramos, and if you look at all the players we were after in the summer, they use us to get new contracts. Thomas Muller's just signed a 5-year deal to 2021 in the last 2 weeks.
So do you think it's a case that maybe it's not just Louis van Gaal, the things that are happening above him need to change as well?
Ed Woodward is clueless. Like today, if you look at the boards around the ground, we've got heroes like our former footwear partner, Nissin, our global noodle partner. But who is actually?
We ain't got a partner for Wayne Rooney.
But that's my point, Adam. That's my point. Who is running the football side of the club? Because Ed Woodward, even though I would like Mourinho for a winner, because he's a winner, but take back 5 years ago, you would have said Mourinho will never manage United because people in the hierarchy, ambassadorial roles like Sir Bobby, Brian Robson, players that none of the current players can lace the boots of, would turn around and say he's not congruent to the United tradition. But now Ed Woodward would turn around and go, he's a marquee signing, even as a manager, and he would sign Mourinho on a 3-year deal. Now Mourinho, you might as well tarmac Carrington if you get Mourinho, because the academy might as well be non-existent, because he's never been anywhere where he's not had loads of money to spend, apart from Porto maybe, where he's not had loads of money to spend. And look at Inter Milan now, is always my counter argument when people talk about Mourinho. They won the treble in 2010, playing anti-football at the Nou Camp in the semi-final. Yes, they outplayed Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, but it's taken them until now to get back to where they were, because there was no contingency plan or conveyor belt for academy talent to come through after that team had all gone out to pasture, like Materazzi, for example, was 30 odd, whereas Mourinho would come in and the academy might as well cease to exist. And I would say either stick with Van Gaal because he's just a scapegoat. I think Van Gaal's a bit of a scapegoat, especially in the press, because Woodward's never said anything and come out and said, you know, maybe it's our fault, maybe it's my fault because I know nothing about football, because he was in the commercial side of the club before. So what does he know about football? I think the hiring and firing that actually needs to happen at the club isn't the manager. We need somebody with a football pedigree who can come in, like a Michael Zorc at Dortmund, who can come in and go, right, here's all the dead wood, we'll get rid of them and we'll start again. But we're in safe hands, because whoever that is knows more about football than Ed Woodward, because Ed Woodward is making the club a laughing stock in the press. How much do you, when you do MUFC Daily, for example, how much do you believe about what you read?
Not
It's been linked with everybody, because Ed Woodward's more interested in the commercial side of the club than what's going on the pitch. And we are a football club. Even though the football club has been removed from our badge, we're still a football club. And the best way to advertise and make commercial deals, like Woodward wants to, is to play good football. Bayern Munich, Barcelona and Bayern don't need to advertise themselves because they play fantastic football, and the commercial side of the club takes care of itself because they play great football, and we need to get back to that.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Pretty much nailed the reasons why I don't want Jose and the reasons why I would want Jose as well. And maybe the thing that we feared most after Sir Alex Ferguson was we as Manchester United fans would have to get real now and welcome to the real footballing world. And maybe that's just what's happened. Cheers, pal.